Today we're going to talk about determining slope from graphs and writing equations of lines in different forms. Remember, slope is the rate of change of a given line. Slope is written as m when representing in equations, and slope is rise over run. This is what we just talked about in 3-4, and now we're going to go opposite from, we're going to use the graphs and find out slope. So this time around, we have to make sure you double check your increments. Instead of finding the equation, or finding the slope from the equation, we can find the slope from the graph. So we can count up. This one we're going to go from we're going to use our points from left to right. So we're going to start with this point. It goes up, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3. So our numerator is 3, and then we go right 1. There's from here to here there's 3, and from there to there there's 1. So, and we know that 3 over 1 is 3. So our slope is just 3. This one, again, we're going to go left to right. This one goes down to get to the next point, and right. So we're going to have negative, and we count 1, 2, negative 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 2 fourths. And make sure you simplify again. Negative 2 fourths is the same as negative 1 half. So looking at a graph, you can determine the slope. Let's try this one. How much does this slope go up and down? It doesn't go up and down, so the slope is 0. So for horizontal lines, the slope is always 0. For vertical lines, it goes up. We can't tell how much it goes up and down, so it's undefined. Slopes of vertical lines are undefined. Slopes of horizontal lines are 0. The slope formula is m equals y1 minus y2 and x over x1 minus x2. Remember, it's how much y changes over how much x changes. It might help you to just remember that part instead of memorizing. And it doesn't matter. There isn't any y1, x1, y2, x2. You can use either of the 2 points first, and I'll show you how to do that. So for the first one, we're going to do, we want to find the slope, between the 2 given points. So m equals y1, so let's try, we'll use this one as x1, y1 the first time around. So negative 5 minus 4, that's our y2 point, over negative 6 minus 4. So negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9, over negative 6 minus negative 4 is negative 10. Negative 9 over negative 10 is positive 9/10. For the second time around, let's use this one as x1, y1. So m equals 4 minus negative 5 over 4 minus negative 6. That's 4 minus negative 5 is positive 9. 4 minus negative 6 is positive 10. Notice we get the same slope, so it doesn't matter which point you use first, as long as your x1, y1 is above each other and your y1, y2 are above each other. Parallel and perpendicular lines. 2 lines are parallel if they have the same slope. 2 lines are perpendicular if when you multiply their slopes it equals negative 1. In other words, when you are looking for a perpendicular slope, you take the negative reciprocal. So let's see how that works. So we want to find the slopes of the parallel and the perpendicular lines. So parallel, we'll write shorthand as this, and perpendicular we'll write shorthand as that. So this parallel lines for both of these, the slope equals the same thing, 4/3, and the slope equals, 4/3, -2. So the parallel line for this parallel slope for 4/3 is 4/3. The parallel slope for -2 is -2. The perpendicular line, the slope is the negative reciprocal. So if it's positive, we're going to change it to negative, and then the reciprocal, we flip the fraction. So the perpendicular slope of 4/3 is -3/4. The perpendicular slope of -2 is positive, because it's opposite, 1/2, because remember, -2 is equal to -2 over 1. The reciprocal of -2 over 1 is 1/2. And notice, I'll just show you with one of them. Let's do 4/3. So 4/3 is our original slope, times -3/4 is our perpendicular slope. The 4's divide out, and the 3's divide out, and we're left with -1. So when you multiply the two slopes together, it's equal to -1. That means they're perpendicular. Again, if we want to find the parallel and perpendicular slopes, if the slope is undefined, that means it's a vertical line. Remember, we talked about that just a few minutes ago. So perpendicular to a vertical line is a horizontal line. So that means for horizontal lines, the slope equals 0. So if you're looking for something that's perpendicular to slope undefined, the slope is equal to 0. Remember, sometimes you need to find the slope first. Like we did earlier in the section, and then make sure you put the line in slope-intercept form or point-slope form. So recall, this heading is wrong, I'm sorry, we're talking about how to write equations now. So recall, slope-intercept form is written y equals mx plus b. Point-slope form is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So there's different ways to write equations of a line. Those are the point-slope-intercept form and point-slope form. Some other ways to write equations of a line: there's standard form, ax plus by equals c. And there's an intercept form, which is x over a plus y over b equals 1. That means that a0 and 0b are our intercepts. But we're mostly going to work with the first two forms. These two are a little cumbersome to use. So let's start writing some equations. We want to write in both point-slope form and y-intercept form for all of these. So our slope, m, is -3, and our y-intercept is 0, -3. So for point-slope, we have y minus -3 equals the slope, which is -3, x minus 0. That's point-slope form. And then the only thing you have to do is simplify if you have minus and negative. So that's going to be y plus 3 equals -3 x minus 0. And y-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So y equals the slope, which is -3, x plus b, so minus -3, or plus a -3, which would be -3. Notice if you solve this for y, you would get the same thing here. So if you're given the slope and the y-intercept, y-intercept form is actually quite easy to use. But what happens if we're not given the slope and y-intercept? So we're going to do point slope form and y-intercept form. So slope is 2/3 and a point on the line is 3/4. So point slope form is going to be y minus 4 equals 2/3 x minus 3. So if we're given a point in the slope, all we have to do is this. To find y equals mx plus b form, the y-intercept form, we have a point, we have 3/4, so we have to put 4 in for y equals 2/3, 3 in for x, and then we have to solve for b first because we don't know the y-intercept. So the 3's divide out, we have 4 equals 2 plus b, so that means b equals 2, and now we can put it back in y-intercept form. When we're writing equations of lines, we need y and x in there. So y equals 2/3 x plus 2. Or you could have solved this equation for y and also have gotten the y equals 2/3 x plus 2. So if you're not given y-intercept, point slope form is much easier to write. So then we want to find the equation of a line parallel to this line through this point. So again, parallel lines, our slopes are the same. And now we have this point, so we can write it in point slope form. Y minus -2 equals 2/3 x minus 3. So that's all we have to do is simplify the minus and negative, so y plus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 3. The equation of a perpendicular line through that point, our slope is going to be the negative reciprocal, so y equals -3 halves. And again, we can write it as y plus 2 equals -3 halves x minus 3. Minus a negative is plus. And then we want to write some equations of vertical lines and horizontal lines passing through points. So let's draw a quick graph. 3/4 is about right here. We can just, it's a quick graph, so that's 3/4. The vertical line is here, and the horizontal line is here. So the vertical line is when the x values are all equal to 3. And the horizontal is here, and that means the y values are equal to 4. So for this one, the vertical line, x equals 3, and the horizontal, y equals -2. That's it for today.